Lab 2, the Scrabble assignment. Brian explains most of it, so let's get down to business, get started and discuss the caveats, the difficulties that we encounter. First, of course, we make the Lab2 directory and we make the Scrabble file, and let's open it in the editor, and we can paste the file from the example that we got. The points array contains point from the letters A to Z. And as Brian explains, the A is number 0. So in our code, points 0 would be the points for the letter A would be 1 point. So all we need to do is translate the letter to a 0-based index. That's one of the things we need to do. So we also know that lowercase a is 97 and uppercase a is 65. So if we would get a B, this would mean that the value is 98. How do we get from 98 to a 0-based index, where B is 1? Just subtract 97. So this is, I'm now analyzing the problems that I'm encountering in this assignment. Another thing we need to consider is that we have this word. It's literally called word. And how do we go over all these letters in this word? We call that iterating over an array, that you start with number 0 with the first item in the array, and you go to the next and the next and the next and the next item in the array. Or in this particular example, we go to the first letter, letter number 0, then to the second, letter number 1, etc. For that we can use the inevitable for loop. We count with an integer, we call it I. You can call it anything you want, but let's call it I. It starts at 0 because we start with letter number 0 in our word, and it will not go further than the end of the word. And the end of this word is, I believe, Strillen is the name of the function. Let's find this length string C. Yep, Strillen. It's called Strillen. It's part of the string H library. And the library is already in here, so this should work. Strillen of course, the word. And after every loop, I gets 1 higher. So I starts at 0, then it becomes 1, then it becomes 2, etc., etc., until it has reached the length of the word. And there it will say if I is not longer lower than the length of the word, it'll stop. So this is the loop where we, in fact, do all this work. So these are the things we have to consider. And of course, you have to make a counter, and it starts at 0. And in the end, you give back the value of the counter. Oop. Like this. So these are all the things you have to do. And of course, there's another thing, and that's that every letter, as we saw in the ASCII table, has an integer equivalent. And I can tell you that if you do int and then some character, C, you will get the character equivalent for this specific letter. That's all I'm going to give you. Well, for what specific letter? Well, the letter word I, because that's the I being the iteration variable in word being an array. So this should do the trick, giving you the value, the character value in the ASCII alphabet. For the rest, you have to find out if it's lowercase, then subtract 97, if it's uppercase, then subtract 65, etc., etc., etc. Return counter. And here, of course, if score 1 is bigger than score 2, then you say player 1 wins, etc., etc., etc. Good luck with it.